Hey folks, live again on Twitch, Kick, maybe Live Space if it's working today, and YouTube. Definitely YouTube, Kick, and Twitch at least. I'm going to play me some R-Type Leo today. I've been playing this a decent amount lately. It's it's very different than most other R-Type games, and took forever to come home. Like, we didn't get a home port that included R-Type Leo in any way, shape, or form until within the last few years. But it's honestly a pretty great arcade shmup, if very unlike a lot of other R-Type stuff, as it plays a lot faster and takes a much more aggressive tack compared to the very defensive, very tactical play of most R-Type. So, let's get going with some R-Type Leo. Now I know I look like I'm looking way over to the right, because I kind of am. When I play horizontal games, my horizontal monitor is further to the right compared to my camera. Because I actually have two monitors in my setup. One which is vertical, which is actually placed right in front, because I honestly play more vertical than horizontal, because I'm that much of a schmuck. But today, I'm in the mood for a specific horror game, which is R-Type Leo. So yeah, for those unfamiliar with R-Type Leo, it is a offshoot of R-Type, as you might expect from the name. It is definitely not a direct sequel, as it plays very differently than R-Type. As you can see, rather than having the one force pod in front, I have two smaller force pods above and below my ship, and I can't really reposition them other than to tell them to go out and attack enemies. You press one button to do that. It has kind of a meter, so you can only do it so often, and that's what it looks like. And they fire in the opposite direction to whichever of forward or back you last moved. They only fire forward or back, and what they fire is different depending on which type of power-up you have. I kind of favor the red power-up, but I'm going to use the other one some during at least this first play to show you how they work. This is blue, which, much like the blue laser, has that bouncing effect, and green is similar to the yellow power-up in normal R-Type games, where it goes out and it seeks, goes straight and then seeks up or down. And I don't know if that came out that far. I'm usually already done with this boss by now. But yeah, I'm not playing seriously at all for the first round, especially where I'm explaining stuff. I might play a little more serious in my other rounds. But now, I'm just trying to have fun. I don't even have my auto fire turned on, I'm just manually having the button. I often play with auto fire, but today, decided I didn't feel like it.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Hey, I've got a decent mash, like not the fastest, but decent. Mashing matters a lot less when you've got the red weapon. And just smash myself against the back. Oh well, guess it's good I wasn't playing serious the first round out. So yeah, I'm gonna turn on my auto fire and play the second round a little bit seriously. That was kind of showing off what it was and explaining it to anybody who hadn't seen it before. Now, well, just actually play me around a little more seriously and without having to mash distracting me. Yep, another of the things in this game is that it does not matter which color the first power-up of the, rotating colors you pick up is. It's always the same, and that it just upgrades you to this mode I'm currently using. And unlike other R-type things where you actually have to hold down a button to do a charge attack, it isn't a thing in this, so if you're someone who plays with auto-fire a lot of the time like me, this game works perfectly with auto-fire. Nice. Hey, yeah, it's not that hard of a shmup, but it's pretty good. And, well, I'm, certainly not the greatest shmup player. I'm alright, but... definitely, continuing to prove that you don't have to be good at shmups to enjoy shmups. You just have to be, at least not completely terrible. Yeah, with the proper weaponry, that boss goes down real fast.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
Oh yeah, R-Type Leo is always a good one.
Let's go.
I accidentally got that. Oh well, I think I can switch back to those pretty soon. This one's not that bad for this level anyway. There we go. Back to normal. Thought I was around that, was not. There we go. Lost first life, but hey, into level 4.
3, 2, 1. Let's go.
And as I've explained before when I played this game is really good about not having Gradius syndrome, in that just a few power-ups and you're pretty much back to normal. Got myself crushed at the end. As you can see, I have a lot less practice on level 4 than I do on the earlier parts of the game. So, still learning it. And yeah, it's a good game. I've always had a good time playing it. Got a message somewhere. Yep, nothing important. It's like, yep. Anyway, after a slight break, we're gonna get back to more R-Type Leo. Oh, actually, I didn't edit my stream title what I wanted to, but that's okay. May as well correct that while I've got a minute. I thought I had saved that, but I had not. There we go. But yeah, I am watching the chat, and I'll at least kick YouTube and Twitch. So if you want to say hi, please do. But yeah, I'll have a puff on the vape and a sip of the drink, and then into the next credit.
Three, two, one, let's go.
And so, for anyone who's curious as to how I play these shmups, like what controls and stuff I use, I actually play on a home-built mix box. Using an Odin as the controller, as the, lever equivalent. Works very well for me. Brown buttons and an Odin, mix box pad. I can do tap dodges like that really easily on it, which is nice. Just sweep up and down like you're watering the lawn.
Three, two, one, let's go.
But yeah, if you got any, curious things about arcades in general, any weird old retro topic, or about the MiSTer in specific, feel free to ask me. I probably know. Because I'm, quite the arcade historian who's been around for most of the arcade era, having gotten into games rather young and being not exactly young these days. The arcades and video games in arcades are, they only have a few more years than I do. Born in 81 when, the things that really made arcades hits were, made in the late 70s. Born during the first heyday of arcades when things like Galaga and Ms. Pac-Man ruled the roost. Well, really the second. The first was really Space Invaders. And Pong didn't really make arcades. Pong was almost more of a, a game that made the concept of the arcade game a thing. But arcades weren't that much of a thing in the days of Pong other than places to go play pinball. And Pong was more of a thing that was great to have in a random bar or whatever. And then we had the real first arcade boom, which pretty much was Space Invaders, which was popular enough in Japan that they literally just took, whatever random old, cheap and not currently being used buildings they could find and build it with Space Invaders and let people come play it. And then, after that, we had the next big things, mostly from Namco. We got Pac-Man and Galaga. And then Ms. Pac-Man, which was actually a US game. Most people don't realize that Ms. Pac-Man was actually originally a hack of Pac-Man made by General Computing Corps in the US. There we are, perfectly the first 3 levels, but as you could see last time I played, I'm still learning level 4. I haven't played it very much. It was only recently that I got good enough at level 3. And that's how learning a game like this goes. I can kind of learn it in stages, especially if you don't use save states or anything, and I don't tend to. How I learn games, I just tend to, play them. Because of that, it might take me longer to learn, especially the later parts of the game, than it does other people. Thought I had enough room to get that. Did not. As you can see, I've really got to do a lot of learning before I can get decent enough at this stage to survive it. Down to my last life already. This part of the stage is much easier than the earlier part. not just because I'm powered up again. You know, I don't think I've ever actually gotten to the boss on the stage. I think this is the first for me. Because I also don't credit spam games. Trying to think about how I play. I play as far as I can on 1 credit. That's how I've always done it. Which tends to make me, you know, really learn the beginning of a game and, you know, eventually get better at the end once I start to get good at it. It isn't necessarily the most time-efficient way to learn games, but it's the realistic way. It's the way that we would have done it in the arcades. Right? Yeah, the one you know, thing I allow myself that's a little different than the arcades, I allow myself auto-fire. Mostly because, well, I'm getting to be an old man. I can match really fast if I want to. But auto-fire is just more comfortable when you're 42 instead of 15. When I was 15, I just mashed the heck out of it. But these days, if I mash the heck out of it, it gets to my wrist if I do it too much. So yeah, pay attention to your health, always. Anyway, I'm probably going to do at least another few rounds. I'm probably going to stay until, you know, maybe another half hour, another 45 minutes or so. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today because I'm actually going out and doing some shopping in person. But yeah, I plan on continuing on, and at the very least, it'll probably get me some good footage for doing a, you know, more proper edited video on R-Type Leo sometime soon, which I might do. Because I've been planning on, you know, doing a little more content generation, if only just for fun. I mean, I don't, you know, expect that I'm going to make that much money at it, but who knows, maybe I will. But I expect that I'm mostly doing it for fun, and you know, one of the things that I like, that I at least have in my radar is doing some videos about, you know, a little bit lesser known games and doing a, you know, very thorough video of each of those lesser known games. Showing, you know, all kinds of different footage about it and using all of this sort of stuff that I'm doing as a live stream as my, you know, capture footage to edit from. Of course, probably only using that part of the screen where the game is on, and you know, using that to take over the whole screen and just talking over it, sort of thing. If that interests you, well, look for it on my YouTube channel. Same one I'm streaming on if you're watching me via YouTube, which you probably aren't, because I've literally never had a YouTube watcher by now, I don't think. Yep, still at that point. Still literally 0 YouTube watchers, which is fine. Because after all, how would they know about it? YouTube's discovery isn't very good. People who watch usually watch me on Twitch because, well, I'm at the very least a well-known long-term patron of Twitch. I hang out in a lot of the retro speedrunning types and fellow shmup types on Twitch. And it's kind of funny that my main demographic of watcher on Twitch is streamer that streams for a living. Like, really, most of the people who regularly watch my stream are either streamers who stream for a living or alternately streamers who are at least good, successful hobbyist streamers. It's most of who watch me. So who knows, maybe watching me will help you become a better streamer.
3, 2, 1.
I can certainly teach you setup stuff, because that's actually one thing I do know. I'm, you know, I work in high-level IT stuff, at least when I'm working. The moment I'm out of work, which is why I've had more time to stream. But I work doing, you know, high-level cloud IT stuff, and because of that, with that sort of mindset, I also learned, you know, way too much about how to make a stream work. And so, if you have any technical questions about how to stream, this is often a very good place to ask, because, well, I probably know them. Any sort of technical setups, things about streaming, or capturing old things, or weird stuff with CRTs and PVMs and things like that. Because I'm actually playing on, well, sort of PVM-alike. I'm playing on an Ikegami monitor for this game. I have a PVM, like actual Sony PVM, tilted on its side that I use for my verticals. It's actually a nice multi-format one that'll actually go up to 1080i. But it's a little smaller than my much larger and prettier Ikegami that I use for my horizontal game. And I do enjoy my Ikegami. It works really well, and it does have a few downsides as compared to a PVM, though. One of them is that if you actually like using the actual sound from a PVM, yeah, Ikegami doesn't even have that as an option. It literally has no speakers and stuff. It is just the video monitor. That's all it does. Other than that, it doesn't have the automatic cutoffs of like its pass-through functionality. So you actually need basically resistors to plug in if you're not passing it through to some other device to terminate the connection. So it needs terminator resistors. However, I actually don't use the terminator resistors. Why? Because I pass it through to my vertical PVM. I actually utilize the pass-through functionality. Because that way, all of my stuff just goes to both setups, and I just turn on the monitor that's appropriate. And if I'm switching back and forth between stuff, I'll just leave both on. But right back into it. Waste of life already. And back to full offensive power. Still a little slow. Yeah, S's are speed power-ups, and it's the one thing I lack right now. And speed level down from normal. But this isn't a game that requires you to move that fast most of the time.
Three, two, one.
Let's go.
Oops. Thought that was still going to be red when I got it, but oh well. Like I said, it was actually pretty good in this stage. In fact, if I wanted to switch to the best weapon for each stage, blue is probably better here. But I usually prefer red just because I'm more used to it. I just usually just stay with red most of the time when I play this. Because red being a really powerful and good at killing bosses and doing a lot of damage to things works really well, because anything that red's not going to hit with its tighter firing pattern you can use the special for that. And the special isn't as good at dealing lots of damage. Up there, I'm dying again already. Yep. Not a great credit, but that's okay. They don't always go good. But yeah, getting a lot of footage of one game is pretty good for making videos later. I'll probably also do more streams like this than I'll probably do at least one a week where I do the more random stream of, one credit each of many games, which is a thing I do fairly often because that's how I have fun. Because that most replicates the old arcade experience. Rather than playing one game again and again and just, hogging that one game. When you were in the arcades back in the day, it was a lot more common to drop one credit, play your one credit, maybe a credit spam to continue through it, but you play one round of the game and then move on. And even in the arcades, I wouldn't usually credit spam through shmups especially. Now the one thing I would credit spam through is it was beat 'em ups like Ninja Turtles and Simpsons. Oh yeah, and X-Men. We played those a lot in the arcades, and usually the way you played those is you just kind of credit spam through. Saved you money if you got better at the game, but, it was just as cool of an experience if you credit spam your way through. Whereas shmups, those I played more for mastery. Other things that I used to play like I played shmups were some of the other older games like Joust. I would play in a similar manner to shmups, whereas playing for mastery and seeing how far I could get on one credit, right? And a Robotron, sort of shmup because twin stick. I actually really liked Williams arcade games. I might actually do some stuff specifically on Williams at some point. As I do more content generation. But yeah, today I'm just going to stick with R-Type Leo.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
And it's one of the cool, unique things that at least before the MiSTer wasn't that available. Unless you played it on MAME. Because it wasn't a greatly common arcade game. I mean, some arcades had it, sure, but it wasn't like, one of the really common ones. So it was, real hit or miss if you could ever find it in person at an arcade. And unlike every other R-Type thing ever that was in the arcades, there's no home port. At least not until very recently when it was put on, I believe, one of those, mini arcades that were released. I think I wanted the Taito Brits or something. Licensed it. But anyway, one of those recent mini arcades was the first time we actually got, a home version of this game. Other than MAME, of course, which, is sort of a home version if you, know what you're doing with emulation. But let's face it, most people don't. I do, I really know my way around the emulation scene if I want to. But these days, the MiSTer is the closest to emulation, well, the MiSTer in the Analog Pocket, that I actually regularly play. There's very few things I play via, computer emulation, even though it is pretty good. But a lot of that is that I don't have as good of a way to put it on my nice monitors and look the way it did. Because I know it's no difference to you. I mean, you're getting it, streamed through HDMI anyway. But I'm playing this, direct on my Ikegami monitor. And it's absolutely gorgeous that way. Just on, the old CRTs, things like the colors just pop so much more. And besides that, it's absolutely lagless. There's no consideration of, lag issues because, well, you know what lag is on CRT, right? You know what the speed of CRT is? The speed of light. That is as much lag as you get. It plays as quick as the system can put it out. And on MiSTer FPGA, it plays just like the real arcade board did, so, it's as lagless as possible. It's the closest to a perfect experience that you can make. Yep, this stage is actually the stage you're kind of supposed to use green. So I'll show off how that works. But by design, you're actually kind of supposed to use different weapons on different stages. And so this time I'm actually going to use the right weapon for each stage. Yeah, this weapon is perfect for the challenge this stage throws at you. Because you can do this and actually target the things that are below without having to do that. Because if you use the right weapon, you barely have to use the, superpower thing that... But yeah, I will probably switch off when I get towards the boss though, because green is not very quick at boss killing. Yeah, I'll have to switch now. Sort of close to the end. I didn't even see that. And yeah, you do have full invincibility when you spawn, so... Yeah, that bullet just kind of hit itself in there. I saw it just before it hit, but... And yeah, even the lighter version of the red, it does a lot of damage to bosses. It'll still get through this boss pretty quick. Unless I die like that, although actually... This is actually the most damaging to bosses. Like, this, sort of base version, when you don't have any of the three colored versions, it's actually the fastest way to kill bosses. If you have auto fire. Because it's the way that really takes advantage of auto fire. Yep, in this one you're actually supposed to use blue, rather than red or green. And yeah, red is the intended weapon for first stage. And that's another cool thing we didn't show off before. So if you go below the water in places where you can, you actually has cool effects. But yeah, I'm just having fun showing stuff off. Playing some good old R-Type Leo. Hey, it looks like somebody's actually watching on YouTube. Almost weird, because most of the time when I have people actually watch, they're watching on Twitch, so. Deb, I'm not going to call you out or anything. I'm just, kind of surprised when I look over and see, hey, I've actually got a viewer on YouTube. You're literally my first viewer on YouTube in a live stream, although people have watched my videos before.
2, 1, let's go.
But I do stream on Twitch, and there was actually about a year when I streamed really commonly on Twitch, mostly when I was grinding the one game that I've speedrun, which if you're on YouTube, you can see the world record videos from it for Bangai-O. Although, you also can go, if you really want to understand Bangai-O, you'd probably be better off watching the SGDQ video from SGDQ 2017 of me running Bangai-O. I explain it pretty well during the run. But yeah, Bangai-O is a ridiculous Dreamcast twin stick shmup with a little bit of weird control tricks, and a game that was all about its super weapon and the correct application of such. The super weapon in it plays weird because it's more powerful the more enemy fire you're surrounded by. So, unlike most shmups where you try to play it safe and dodge lots of enemy fire, in Bangai-O you literally dive into the deepest depths of enemy fire and press the super button, because that's actually how you play best. But yeah, Bangai-O is a good time if you want, you know, something a little different and weird. I do a lot of different and weird. Well, that's the sort of thing that's fun for me, things that were innovative and different. It's kind of always been the case. I will say, if you're interested in all this random stuff I talk about and want to hear more about my thoughts on gaming and things like that, you might want to head on over to Classic Gaming. It's a blog. It's my new blog. Oh, pretty good. Retro Chaos Queen. One of my old friends showing up over on Twitch. Yeah, the chat that's shared here is indeed the Twitch chat for anybody who's watching via Kick or YouTube. As well, that's where I've classically had the most interaction. But yeah, I'm having a pretty good day, just having some fun with some R-Type Leo. But yeah, Classic Gaming, which is literally just that, classicjm.ing, is my new blog that I started recently. I'll probably also post videos and stuff to it eventually. At the moment, it's mostly just kind of a, rough, almost diary of what I did with my day. Which, you know, if you find that fun, you find the sort of things I talk about fun, maybe you'll find it interesting. But yeah, I plan on doing, you know, more proper article sort of things eventually on it. But at the moment, that's, you know, what I've had time for and been able to keep up. Focusing a lot on, you know, trying to find a more traditional job. But, you know, I've got the extra time, so I'll do at least some of the stuff that I can do to, you know, possibly end up with alternate income streams, and also just have a lot of fun hanging out with my retro friends. And yeah, definitely multi-streaming. These days I'm, you know, multi-streaming on Twitch, Kick, and YouTube because, well, it works pretty easily, and Twitch decided they would let us do it and still be an affiliate, so... Figured, why not? Maybe people will actually watch me.
3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
Give people more of an, a way to find out who I am and decide to watch. But, you know, between you and me, you probably have the best experience on Twitch because I'm probably going to read the chat a little quicker and the chat will show up on the screen. Because Twitch is where I started streaming and is still, you know, my first love of platforms. But if for some reason Twitch doesn't work for you, feel free to watch me on Kick or on YouTube, because I stream on those too. Rossi all the way down. You can always find it by looking at whatever it is /Rossi. I thought I dodged that. Not quite. But yeah, as you can see, one thing I loved about this game is that it doesn't really have that much of a Gradius syndrome problem. In that, you know, the only power-up I'm short now is the missile power-up, which is weak and not that useful anyway. Otherwise, I'm already back to full strength. Because you only need a total of 3 power-ups. And now I've died again, but well, that's on me. Having too much fun looking at how things are going. Now that's a shmup I know. Not sure which one you were referring to. Maybe Bongo that I was talking about earlier. Probably not talking about this because almost no one knows R-Type Leo because, well, it's not a common one. Got 2 Christmas baskets. Eating snacks and candy. Sounds like fun.
3, 2, 1.
But yeah, I'm already on my last life getting into level 4, so I'm probably not going to do well here. But who knows? I've been learning more of level 4. I will say, this level plays a lot more R-Type. Feels a lot more like old school R-Type than the other levels in Leo because you've got, you know, a lot more restriction on your movement and things like that. And hey, Hugo Car, you know, which gamepad are you using to play? I'll show you. I made it. So, this is what I play on. It is a home-built arcade sort of stick, but it's not a stick because I use a Mixbox pad instead of a lever with nice crown buttons for all of my buttons. And it uses a open fight stick fighting board, which I actually sort of helped beta test. This is actually one of the very first open fight stick boards ever made, to the point where it actually still has a bit of a flaw in it that I have to work around. Because I helped beta test the thing. But as long as you can do a little bit with wiring, you can work around the flaw in it, and the new ones are actually quite good. You can get them in a few different places. The boards that are based on this design, the easiest place is probably from MiSTeraddons.com. Shout out to MiSTer Addons, great place. But yeah, what I use to play this and what I use to play pretty much everything I play on stream is various cool arcade sticks sort of like that. And that one, like I said, this one I literally hand built this. This is exactly my stuff, all the wiring in it and everything. I did buy the case it's in, that I literally bought it as a really cheap arcade stick just because I wanted the case. And ripped out all its original guts other than the little tiny black buttons. Those actually come from the original case. But I ripped out the rest of the guts of it and put in all of my own guts, which works out pretty well and ends up being a really nice thing to play arcade games on. And unlike, you know, actual arcade lovers and stuff, is much nicer on my hands because, well, I'm not a young man. I take care of my ability to continue to play games and do so without pain. Also, why I never mind using auto fire.
3, 2, 1.
But yeah, thanks for the question, Hugo. But yeah, I do rather enjoy my cool hand-built arcade device. And I have a few other things like it. I have one, for example, that is less hand-built and started as a Hori fighting stick that's pretty good. That I also put the same kind of mix box into as a modification that uses the buttons that it came with. Of course, the most impressive thing is my arcade table, as I like to call it, upstairs, which is, it looks like a maybe mildly taller than normal coffee table when it's all closed up. But you pull off the top, and under it is a VGA CRT, well actually, you know, SVGA, a pretty fancy CRT, and 4 players worth of controls that include both a Mixbox pad and a Korean fight stick lever. And 1 trackball as well for trackball games. You pretty much only need 1 for trackball games that aren't named Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. It's about the only one where you'd actually want 3 for that. But most other trackball games, you only need 1 trackball. And yes, it's called Sega Sonic the Hedgehog. It is a Sonic the Hedgehog arcade game that uses trackball controls. And I have played it, but, you know, only 1 player. It is a 3-player game. If you're a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and you know about Ray and Mighty, which were added as, you know, characters in Sonic Mania, that's where they're from. But yeah, I really like my, you know, hand-built hardcore metal arcade stick. It does good work. But yeah, I hope everybody's having a good time watching some R-Type Leo. It's, you know, like I said, it's one of my favorite weird arcade shmups that never made it home. Or at least never until the recent day when it was on, I think, one of the Ito Egret things. But, you know, one of those mini arcade home things had this as a game. But until then, there was no home version of this. Right into it. Slid right into that, didn't I? Oh, I feel that slowness. But yeah, I'm certainly far from the best player in the world, but I get better. Speed again, that'll help. And I'll be back into the run mode. There we go, pretty much back to full power.
2, 1.
Let's go.
Anyway, though, this is going to be my last credit for right now, because, well, I'm going to go out shopping after this. So, hope you're having a good time. But I have been streaming pretty regularly, mostly in the afternoons in Eastern Time Zone. Usually I'll start sometime around, 2 p.m. and finish when I'm done. It's not necessarily going to be every day because, well, I'm certainly allowing things like job interviews to trump, but I will stream, sometime in the afternoon as often as I can, which might even be at least something of a stream every day if I can pull it off. And what do I stream? Shmups, pretty much. I mean, there's other games I play, not nearly as many of anything else other than shmups, though. Shmups is chiefly what I enjoy and what I play. Oh yeah, you don't have to play with anything nearly as elaborate as me, honestly. Especially for this game, most normal controllers would probably work fine. But I do really enjoy arcade sticks and building them as a hobby, so...
3, 2, 1.
Let's go.
If you want to learn about building arcade sticks and stuff, just ask. I'll give you a tutorial. I even actually have a few fresh boards I could probably, and buttons and stuff. I could probably actually build an arcade stick, on stream sometime as an amusement. The main thing I'm kind of short is a case. But, maybe I'll ask my dad to make me a good arcade stick case. My dad's actually a really talented woodworker, and he was the one who collabed with me on the arcade table that I talked about earlier. I might actually ask him as a gift sometime to just make me a few cases for arcade sticks, including a few different setup ones. Because one of the things I was going to try, mostly because I got the buttons for it really cheap, was doing a leverless stick, but with American-style buttons. Because most people, kind of poo-poo on American-style buttons. But I was figuring it might be fun to make a Mixbox-style stick entirely out of American-style arcade buttons, just to see how it felt and how it worked. Just for something different, And I just happen to have all the buttons for it that I just got cheap from from the people who make one of the arcade sticks that I bought. Is this absolutely gigantic arcade stick with 2 players worth of controls on it and a trackball. What's funny is I can't even remember the name of the company right now. But in any case, they were selling off the buttons they use in their hardware for $4 for 30 buttons. And so I bought a few sets of those. I've got just a ton of these buttons to use, and I was thinking of trying to make a full leverless arcade stick with those as my buttons. Might have to buy a few cables for that, but I've mostly got the parts other than an actual case. And I might ask my dad for the cases. Might be a fun thing to do sometime. Anyway, like I said, that was going to be my last credit for the day. So, I think I'm going to send a raid over to someone that I watch rather often, although he's playing very different types of games than I do. Bradio, who mostly plays mostly he plays Streets of Rage 2, but right now he's playing Streets of Rage 4. Anyway, I always have a lot of fun watching him, and I hope you guys have a good time watching him as well, at least you people here on Twitch. As for everybody on YouTube, well, or on Kick, well, I'm, feel free to go watch Bradio on Twitch if you want to. I don't think he multi-streams like I do. But other than that, have a great day, and I hope to see you again. And you're welcome, Retro Chaos Queen. It's always so great to see you. I used to watch Retro Chaos Queen stream all kinds of cool stuff, especially cool cyberpunk stuff. She was really into streaming cool cyberpunk stuff a few years ago. Might be getting back into it more. So if she does, look out for her streams. They're pretty awesome. Have a good one, everyone.